pull through. But it's a critical game right now for effectively all these players.
Yeah. Now I feel like this is going to be a bit of a tipping point match for sure, because we're now getting to the point where you only play a total of 12 games. Every single one means more and more and more, and the damage you did early will continue to stack up. The points you were able to accrue on day number 1 and now here on day number 2, bringing you closer and closer to that top 8, because that's what it really comes down to. Just need to get in that top 8. From there, reset on the day. 5 games are going to be the difference between you winning or not winning that finals. Just have to get there. That's the big question mark for these players. Can they do it?
And what are we going to see people grab early on? It's been all about the G word, the goblins. Somehow, some way, somehow, I don't know how. Just like you high roll is what you do. But Kogobas able to secure all the goblin bonuses very early on in that game and just ran away with it before getting caught at the very end. So what's going to happen here? Already seeing some Agarsis Rangers being picked up by Devlis, which is a nice, a fun opening to see. Also, 2 Hell Knights coming out from Pure Zun already is pretty interesting. We haven't seen too many super heavy knight plays, at least early on, but then obviously all across the board we're seeing goblins everywhere, with the exception of Bobula, who does not have a goblin, going for a couple God of Wars and a Goddess of Light. But everyone else has a goblin. So something that happened last game, once again, everyone ditched their goblins, and Kogobas was like, okay, I'll just scoop all of them up. Thank you very much. Give me that 25-game win streak. Give me second place. I'll take it. So we'll see what happens here. I think that's the story of the early game. Goblins still so strong. Who keeps them? Who ditches them? And I think there's arguments for holding on to goblins, even if you're not looking to commit to them that much, just to keep them from your opponents. They're so strong.
They're strong to a point, and then how you transition, how you play around the Kira really comes in. But we have seen the builds that can counter them. We have seen that come into play. I'm still yet to be convinced of Mage in the current patch. We've seen them do pretty well, get pretty far, but not really be sort of one of those top 2 contending builds. I still feel like, Hunters are probably not something we're going to be seeing a lot of here. I still feel like I haven't been overly convinced of their viability, but we will see. And then, of course, Divinity still going to be in play despite the nerfs. Still going to be a factor here. That Grand Herald still adding that utility to these late game engages. So we'll keep an eye on that. I'm starting to get a sense of it. I would say I'm about 20% there on the new patch. I still have a ways to go.
And then when you figure it out, it's going to be changed again, probably. But that's the wide world of competitive video games. Constant changes, constant balance being worked on. Of course, we're taking a look at the overall leaderboard there. Still lots of goblins around. We're looking at Ziggy right now. He's got 3 goblins on the front line. Of course, here's where we really point out who's going up to level 5, who's sticking to the lost streaks. We're going to keep a close eye on Monty this whole way through because of how close he is to that top 8. And right now it looks like Monty is going for a lost streak to open things up. Same with Kumbiro. Remains to be seen for the rest of the lobby, though. Who's going for those win streaks? Who's going for those lost streaks? As we're still very early in the game, round 5. Yes, and these players are going to start having to make those decisions of what they're going to be going for.
Yeah, absolutely. And Choke God finding himself an early werewolf and a couple of level 2s. So I think he's likely going to try and keep that win streak alive. They are going to be hitting that level 4 mark now, or level 5 in some instances, I should say. And try and keep that going. Devlis, of course, another one of these top players coming into this, weaving some Agarsis in with that Agarsis Ranger, able to get that up to level 2. And then Kumbiro, just right in the middle there, got himself the level 2 God of War and the level 2 Soulbreaker. So he's probably going to try and get some sort of win streak going. Pure Zun, though, he's down there with 95 HP, but he actually managed to find himself a level 2 Hell Knight as well. So, again, still decisions to be made for some of these players.
Mm-hmm. And it looks like we're looking at Kumbiro right now. Got a God of War and Poisonous Worm. Going to be winning that. Kumbiro on a 3-win streak. And we're seeing the lobby separate itself a little bit here, separating between the win streakers and the lost streakers. Monty on that 3 lost streak, doing the best job with the losing streak so far. Also finding his way, getting 10 gold, which is pretty critical here. Doesn't seem like a lot, but a pretty big deal at this point, just to get that extra coin on the econ. And then, of course, Monty also staying at level 4. We have 2 players right now staying at that level 4, and they definitely do not want to run into each other because they want to keep their loss streaks going.
Absolutely. And, you know, things that you can be very confident in this world: death, taxes, and the fact that Monty's going to open fort and try and get a loss streak going. Yeah, that's some things that don't change. Every single game, you know Monty's going to be doing that. It's actually kind of interesting because we have players that are so dedicated to a strategy. You have to be cognizant of it just as you are playing around said strategy. Like, you know, in a lot of lobbies, there's at least 2 people. That tends to be sort of the magic number that we see. There's more in this particular lobby, I think. But you always know that Monty's going to do it. So does that change your decision to try and get that loss streak going yourself? Does that impact other players? These are the kind of questions that I love to talk about, the psychology of a game like auto chess.
You know, we actually had that happen with a female player at the Auto Chess Invitational. She would go for the same open fort Glacial Knight strategy every single game. Trying to remember who exactly it was. It's not coming to me immediately, but she ended up doing pretty well. But yeah, you're spot on, dude. We have the same builds being used by a lot of players, and they're not shy about it. And something else here that I was mentioning earlier is that pressure factor. We're getting close to that top 8. We're going to be saying see you later to players. We're going from 32 to 8. So we're getting well along in this point accumulation. So the pressure is on. And if that pressure is on, it's like, okay, I got to get top 4. I got to get top 4. And then you're making the decision to purposely lose in the game like Monty's doing, purposely losing like 5 rounds in a row. That's not necessarily an easy psychological step to take, where it's like, okay, I need to win. I gotta win. I gotta stay out of the bottom 4. Okay, let's go for open 4. Let's just get a loss streak going. That takes a lot of confidence and ability to be able to do. So we'll see if it works out for Monty. Yeah, he's staying at level 5 on that 5 loss streak. Flame also going for a loss streak of himself, but meanwhile, Choke God and Kamburo going for the win streaks at the top.
Yeah, let's jump back on board with Choke God. Let's see what's exactly going so well for him. Up at the top of the leaderboard. See what exactly he's able to string together here. He's going actually for Marine off the start, or was going for Marine off the start here. Yeah, still is. He's just able to get a bunch of early level 2s. I think that's just the really big thing here. Able to get that level 2 Abyssal Crawler, pretty massive. And now that he's got, I'm actually a fan of the Argali Knight. I'm not sure if that's like a popular opinion or not, but especially with the changes they made, this is 250 pure damage. Especially in the early game, it's going to do a lot, especially now that it is default going to be placed more aggressively or placed optimally to do the most damage. And when you add to that, everybody else is level 2. These are all 2 stars. This is going to be a very tough board to bring down.
Yeah, and it's just a nice bonus having the Marine bonus with the 35% magic resistance. Not necessarily something he planned for, it just kind of worked out for him. Able to get both that Abyssal Crawler and the Abyssal Guard, and also getting them both to a 2-star. That's pretty strong at that stage in the game. And you mentioned it, tacking on those 2-star goblins, certainly not. It's certainly going to help him as well, even though it's not even though no synergies are really happening with those goblins. But as you said, just the fact that they're 2-star makes them pretty strong. So Choke God with a pretty nice board. I want to take a peek at Kamburo as well. He is also a player who is currently on a win streak, so we'll take a quick peek at that. He's working on Divinity and Priest. Also has a couple 2-star goblins to his name, the Soulbreaker and the Ripper. Also at the 2-star God of War. Nothing too like remarkable for Kamburo, I don't think, right now. But this win streak's working out for him, and he's got a decent economy.
Yeah, building up that economy, of course, is so important. Monty and Flame are going to be doing actually Monty's going to be doing a little bit better job of that with Ziggy as well, getting up to 30 already, getting that 3 interest on the round, going to help out a lot. Kamburo and Choke God, though, are actually doing a fantastic job of not only keeping these win streaks alive, but also building up that econ. What we saw in that last game, which was very interesting, is the fact that our first place player, Gogoboss, just wasn't building an econ. He built an econ after he was on win streak 15. He won like 20 rounds in a row or whatever. So I like this play a lot more. You're going to get on a win streak and you're going to try and keep it, but you're not going to go broke trying to keep it. You're still going to play smart.
Yeah. If you get the win streak, it's nice, but it's not contingent on your strategy for the game. Yeah, that is definitely a good thing to point out. And Kamburo also, if I remember correctly, not too far away from being in the leader in a good position on the overall leaderboard. So Kamburo would definitely love a nice game. And looking at his play here, he's got that Water Spirit doing a little bit of work. And he is going to prevail once again. So both Choke God and Kamburo up to that 8-win streak.
Nice.
Meanwhile, Monty's on an 8-loss streak, but still at 60 HP. So definitely all on purpose for Monty. He's got a really big bank as well. Looking at his units, looking at his pieces really quick, he's got that Warpwood Sage. Pretty non-committal towards the Druids, though. I mean, that's the only Druid he really has. Let me just make sure. Okay, he does have one more Druid on his bench. So I mentioned earlier how strong that Warpwood Sage can be. Just can be a really tanky, sustaining unit. So
yeah,
lots of gameplay still to come here. It's still anyone's game. It's not like anyone's out of this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, we are still early days on this one. And it's actually, I think it's really cool that at round 13, Ziggy, Monty, and Flame all have between 60 and 63 HP. That is really good for a round 13 loss streak. Like, being above 50 is solid. The fact that they're in the 60s, they've actually been playing this really, really well, not taking a lot of loss damage. Yeah, Ziggy's going to go down to 53 here. Flame's going to lose his loss streak. He's going to look to stabilize now, but that's actually really solid play from the three of them here coming into round 14. But I want to also take a look at some of the players in the middle right now. How are these players doing? Actually, I should note Devless is in that same company. But how are Bobula and Pure Zun doing? How are these two players hanging in there? They're not on these massive win streaks, but they're holding on pretty good. They're not on these huge loss streaks. How are the folks in the middle hanging out?
Cool. So Pure Zun might be working out for Pure Zun for his Glacial Knight play. If you remember, he got a really quick 2-star Hell Knight. So it looks like he's kind of been turning that into just a Glacial Knight strategy, which is very logical. So this could work out for Pure Zun in the long term here, as it doesn't seem like too many other people in the lobby, if any at all, are going for any sort of Glacial or Knight. So this could be a situation that could just work really nice for Pure Zun based on composition alone. Meanwhile, Bobula, it feels like he just has a lot of 2-stars. It doesn't seem like he has any remarkable synergies going on. So he's kind of hanging in there, I feel. I feel like Pure Zun might be in a slightly better position, especially if Glacial Knight keeps working for him. Makes you wonder where the Lightblade Knight is, actually.
Well, that's kind of the key. It's kind of the key component of this build. In fact, it is I would say the key component of this build. You need to build around that. Notice he's holding on to his items. He's not really giving those out.
He doesn't even have a Lightblade Knight either, by the way.
No, he doesn't. I mean, that's actually make or break. That's actually make or break or Pure Zun in this game, if he can get that, if he can get the right items on her.
Why does no one have a Lightblade Knight? Like, I'm looking through. Sorry. I don't see it anymore.
No.
Wait,
team. She's like, guys, I'm taking the day off. None of this for me today. None of it. I'm sitting at home. It's just, I don't understand. I don't understand.
I actually don't see a single Lightblade Knight.
No, I don't see a single one. I just looked. There's not a single one.
Not even on the.
So everybody who's seen one has turned it down. No, everybody's. There's only one person playing Knight, so there's only one person who pick it up.
Yeah,
everybody
and I
else
was like,
is
wait,
just
I guess
no.
a couple people are going feathered, so maybe they would pick it up. No,
Yeah.
nowhere to be seen or found.
Lol.
By the way, it's fun. We're getting some live commentary from the chat. We're having players kind of update us on what they're thinking as the game goes along.
On the game, guys. I know you like that level early, guys. Guys, it's kind of. I would rather trust me, guys. Let's heart to heart here for a second. As much as I appreciate the deep insight into your minds, as much as I really, really do appreciate, letting us in on the strats. Focus on the game. You're playing for tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, I've never seen someone more active than Kamburo while he's playing. He's filling in all the text chat quotas for this stream right now. It's impressive.
I mean, that's the thing. You're playing on mobile. You've got that phone right there. You can quickly just get those messages in. I love it. I love it. I don't love it. Please focus on the game. I'm being sarcastic. I was being facetious. Oh my goodness.
Oh man. Okay, Kamburo lost his lost streak. Meanwhile, Choke God's still on it.
Wow. Oh, Monty.
And
look at Monty, because he's stabilized. He's stabilized
Sure.
in a great way, actually. He just lost. He went down from 60, but he's looking really good so far.
He's rolling down, looking for something. He just spent a lot of money there. Okay, he went up to level 8 just then. Let's see here. Monty, what are you up to?
Monty?
What are you up to, Monty?
Monty.
Feathered?
He did get
Is
a
he
couple
going
more
for-
level 2s.
He's got 6 feathered out.
He does.
I wonder if he's going for 9 feathered. That would be pretty crazy.
That would be actually a little bizarre. I don't know if I necessarily love that. Just the fact that, like, I mean, the fact that mages have still been prevalent in the meta, the fact that divinity spirits are still a thing. I mean, obviously the feather's great up against like these really heavy melee boards, or sorry, auto attack based boards. But up against magic, they just get popped.
Yeah, and
And
I believe in the interview, Nova was speaking towards feathered. I think he said something like he likes feathered. It just hasn't been
Yeah.
viable.
Yeah.
If he doesn't get this light blade, he's not going 9 feather. Okay, he didn't pick it up. So that would be surprising if he went 9 feathered. But it's easier to do if you're going druid, because a lot of druids just have that feather. I guess specifically 2 druids, Warpwood Sage and Whisper Seer have that feather already going for them. So if you're going druid, heavy feathered works with that. So let's see how this ends up working for Monty. He's got 6 of those feathers out. He's got 2 hunter, which is a little strange. Not really working in a 3rd hunter to take advantage of the bonus. Just relying on that 6 feathered. And Monty's bank was so big, and now it's down to 22. I don't know if that's exactly where he wants it to be. It feels like he was rolling for something and couldn't find it.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe he was trying to get his Warpwood Sage up to level. Maybe he was trying to get up to level 3, possibly. I don't know. We'll see. I still think, you know, obviously he's leaning into these druids a little bit more. Oh, I wonder if he was looking for the Razor Claw. That might be a possibility here. Might have been looking for the Razor Claw. He's now down below.
He picked up the unicorn. He hasn't had that too long. This is what's fun, man. You kind of, the part of it is you sit back and you see it unfold and you're like, oh.
We can theorize, we can theory craft until the cows come home, but these players know what's in mind. It's our job to try and, as commentators, as analysts, to try and, oh, that ult feels bad. Into the corner. It's our job as analysts to try and dissect the smallest of things to glean insight from players' minds over the course of these. And oh my goodness, I'm wondering how different this round would have been if Siren ult had gone the other way. It's actually so sad. There we go. Too late now.
Yeah. Monty is gonna fall here. It still feels like there's definitely a piece of the puzzle missing here for Monty. So let's see if he can figure it out and navigate it. I mean, his Warpwood Sage is definitely strong right now, and he's getting towards that 3-star Warpwood Sage, which is great sustain, but he definitely needs more firepower. He's got the assassins going. Again, the assassins druid comp that we've kind of been seeing. And you know what? No one else is really going assassin.
Yeah. No, so here's the thing. Like, part of the reason I actually like Feathered Assassin so much, well, obviously it's like kind of a classic build because there's a lot of natural crossovers between Feathered and Assassin, but the Assassins sort of fill in where you're a little bit weaker. I mentioned the idea that, like, mages will smash you, but, you know, you can able to get those Assassins to the back line. If you can one-shot a lot of these mages, that actually helps deal with that element where you're weaker to magic damage. So they sort of help fill in where the other one is weak. And that's a lot of fun. We are seeing the Shining Assassin potentially coming in now here. Level 2 soon. If he can find another one, that would be huge. He's still going to stay above 20. He's not going to totally tank his economy. But we've been watching Monty for a while here. Maybe let's jump on board with Ziggy, who's also been having some problems here. Ziggy, of course, one of the Canadian players, no bias, one of these returning stars from season 4, who's going also into the feather, but this time with a Garrus Hunter. He's flexing that feathered in a slightly different direction. Only 3. He's got a lot of synergies going, actually.
Yeah, and I kind of like it. I play around with this type of builds. Very good damage output, especially if you can get those hunters going. Combined with the Garrus can really scale well as the game goes along, and that's working out just fine. And I did want to point out we have our first 3-star. I feel like there should be, like, you know how it's like first blood in FPS games.
Yeah.
There should be something to indicate the first 3-star or something. We had the first 3-star from Pearson, and we've been talking about him kind of a lot of this game. The fact that we mentioned earlier that he was the only player really going for Glacial Knight composition. Guess what? He's the first player to get a 3-star. And it's on his Hell Knight. He's got a 3-star Hell Knight with a ton of items on it. So Pure Zun is looking pretty strong. I like the way he's looking. I also don't mind Monty's position because I don't see many other players going for an Assassin's comp. So that's why I like Pure Zun and Monty here. Of course, we're looking at Ziggy, which I believe we are still. Yes, we are. He's got the Hunter Agarsis going. And you know what? No one else is really going Hunter or Agarsis in the lobby. So it's pretty interesting. That's 3 examples of 3 players who kind of figured out a build that no one else is really going for as much.
And that's where I feel like even already, I don't know. Here's the thing. Did the new patch actually enable this, or is this just players thinking the new patch is enabling this? Because last time we saw a lot of the same builds. We saw people like everybody trying to force Goblins. We saw everybody trying to force out the Veno carries, and now that's sort of gone out the window, despite the fact that I still think it's very strong. But now what this has done is the perception that multiple builds are strong. People are going multiple builds. And that's what I think is so cool. It's just that, you know, it's confirmation bias. If something won't be strong if you don't run it because you're not running it because you don't think it's strong. And it's like the cyclical thing, and it's, I don't know, man. This is so cool. It's so cool trying to figure out what these players are thinking.
Yep, and there's some meta there as well, like other players identifying that and then changing their play based on that, so on and so forth. I think ultimately what it really boils down to is going for something that other players aren't, and just finding the really nice timings where you can get everything you need. And actually, as I say that, Monty, that might have been the round he was looking for. If we can take a quick look at Monty, who just secured something I think he was desperately looking for. He's got his 3-star Warpwood Sage, and he's got his 3-star Whisper Seer. So that might be the anchor that Monty is looking for to really make this Feathered Assassin's build work. He's got the 2 3-stars, so right about now is the time where Monty wants to turn this into a win streak. Also, meanwhile, we were talking about Ziggy. Ziggy went all the way to level 9, so he's also looking to get the win streaks going from this moment.
You say this, though,
I'm really,
but Cho'Gath, I'm just going to interject, because Cho'Gath's already level 10.
You're good. Ooh,
which is crazy.
Yep.
So Ziggy's kind of, he's got his back against the wall now, but we'll stay on board with Monty. We'll see how these druids are going to be able to do work for him here, because he's running out of, you know, he's starting to run out of gas a little bit, only 37 HP. He's down towards the bottom. Not in the worst shape ever, but losing here as well would be not ideal for him.
Looking at Monty right now, and he is cleaning up, no problem. Wait, was that against? Oh wow, okay. I think those are two players in a pretty strong position right now, and Monty was able to do that without too much trouble.
Yeah, I mean, just all those 3-star druids, they just make a big difference. And also, for the record, I've heard it pronounced Pearzoon, but also, like, instinctively, I'm pronouncing it as Pearson, which I don't know if that's actually his name, but I don't know. Anyway. Just for the record, guys. Just for the record. I want to jump on board.
I mean, I see it. I'm not going to disagree. I see it too. Yeah. It could be. You're good. Just like very nice. No objections here.
All right. Devless. Let's jump on board with Devless, though.
They're just going to show up in the chat anyway. They're going to show up in the chat anyway and tell us. So it's all good.
So remember how I talked about, you know, the idea that there was still this Goblin Kira build that I think is still pretty strong. People are sleeping on just because it got slightly nerfed. We're now seeing 2 of them come out. Choke got up in first place, who's already gotten to level 10, and Devless, who's also running it here, still at level 9. They're both building around these Veno carries. It sort of seems like maybe they were watching that last game. Maybe they were all in chat because everybody was delayed watching it, and they all just went, wait a second, maybe this build isn't actually, maybe it didn't get nerfed that hard after all. And maybe my gut instincts weren't too wrong, because this is looking really solid right now. Both of these players are looking good. I expect Cho'Gath to be back on a win streak, and Devless is already on an 8-win streak.
Yeah, and also Cho'Gath does not have a Venomancer, which is a little surprising. He's got all the mechs going on to help, which goblins are helping towards. Looking at Venomancers, though, Devlis has the 2-star. The only other one that I see is Bobula has a 1-star Venomancer. I might be missing something somewhere. But no, it's a great point. We're seeing Devlis go for that heavy Venomancer play and, with Kira, and we'll see if he can if it can work out for him. It's been working out for other players.
Well, he's up against Bobula. This is actually his first time facing up against Bobula, who also has that other Veno, like you mentioned. So we'll see which one's going to have the advantage. Man, the spin from that swordsman, that just did so much damage to his front line. Oh, but my goodness, the helicopter, the call down damage was big, but that water spirit doing work. And I don't know, it's going to come down to the carry once again of the big boy, the man himself, the Veno. He's fairly stacked. He's got a steel plate mail. He's got a shadow edge. He's got a claw wand. Getting that claw wand seems to be such a big addition to these really, really powerful carries. Of course, the magic community obviously is huge.
And we're definitely keeping an eye on the spirit play, because that is something we saw be incredibly effective against the Venomancer based play that we saw in the last game. We saw Vince take that game with utilizing the spirits, and Kambiro is going for the spirit play, as well as Flame near the bottom of the lobby. I'm not seeing much more than that though, so Kambiro is going to want to make that as strong as possible to compete against the top of the lobby. But I still think this is pretty wide open through and through. Like, I can see cases for Monty coming back a little bit. His economy is top 3 in the lobby right now. Purzun, the only player going for Glacial Knight. Guess what? He picks up a 3-star Desperate Doctor. So now he's got 2 3-stars. So I just feel like there's a lot of strengths for a lot of these players still. Still a very open lobby here. I don't think there's necessarily a convincing argument for a winner. I don't think it's close to finding that yet.
No, I agree. I think this is still anybody's game. Oftentimes in these lobbies, we've had one player just sort of really go out in front, and they've sort of been the player to beat, and it's resulted in this epic 1v1. We are not close to that yet. I think Devlis is probably the one making the biggest case for that right now on a 10-win streak, but still, I think this could really go anybody's way. As now Kambiro, though, despite the fact that we were hyping up the spirit play, it hasn't been able to line up quite yet for him. It's still resulting in that 5-loss streak, which I'm obviously a little, kind of be disappointed for him. I think the big part of that is just he hasn't gotten any of these really big ults with his Grand Herald to really duplicate. So maybe that's a part of it here. And also now he's got the level 2 Grim Touch. I don't know. I'm not quite sure. I think it really comes down to how well he can utilize this Dark Spirit.
Yeah, I think he's trying to he's just trying to amplify what he has. I think he has all the pieces he more or less needs. He's just trying to make everything stronger, and he might need time to do that. Although I'm sure Kambiro he's just going to let us know in the chat within moments, I'm sure. But I think there's time for him to scale up. The problem is his economy is super low, so he's not going to be able to roll for... He needs to find room to roll, but his economy... It's not helpful for that right now. We're looking at Monty though, and it looks like Monty is going to be just fine. Again, making that feathered assassin build work. Got up to his 3-star abyssal crawler. We saw how absolutely savage that can be. So again, as I said, Monty, he's looking okay. He's looking okay here. Also, we have the first light blade knight picked up.
He's looking better than okay, by the way. Oh, okay,
yeah,
that's a good note. Because I was watching Choke God's board, and Monty actually dominated Choke God on Choke God's board. So Monty's actually looking really good. All those 3-star units is huge. Purzun as well is getting the light blade knight in play. But I think it took him so long to get it that he had to distribute his items elsewhere. Where did he put his items? He put all of his items on his Hell Knight just because he got to level 3 early. He just sort of allocated that as his carry, and that's not super. I guess it's okay. It's not crazy ideal. So we'll see.
All right, we're looking at Monty here still, and Monty's definitely looking to turn some win streaks. His economy is lower, so he's been rolling down to try to get what he needs. Oh, it looks like he is going to meet his match in this instance. Sorry, I couldn't tell he's going up against there. Who was that? Bobula.
Yeah.
Bobula. Now I got to look at Bobula again. Hold on.
Yeah, hang on. Gotta make me rethink things here. Ziggy goes out though.
Divinity,
Unfortunately, Ziggy.
Divinity Warlock.
Okay.
There's nothing really screaming at me about Bobula's composition and how it worked so well there against Monty.
I mean, he's going to be, relying on a lot of damage coming in from this Storm Shaman with that Static Storm. He's also going to rely on the Water Spirit as well. And I think this is just honestly just like you're almost towards, again, you're almost towards just like fully committing to this magic damage, but you've got a little bit extra there with the Divinity to keep yourself in this. And you got the
He's got the
tank
Venomancer. He's got he's got that Veno too.
He doesn't have any
God,
items on it
Veno.
though. Just interesting.
I know, but it's so strong. It's like, what's the reason this is doing so well? Oh, he's a Veno. Okay, Kimbiro, he's giving us his commentary. Great. He says,
I also
"Eco."
think this is great that Choke God is running goblins and not running the Veno. I think that's so unique. I think that is so cool to see him fully committing more into the mechs with the helicopter, with the Devastator, which is still level 1. If he can get both of those up to level 2, I think that Choke God has a new life in this game.
Yep, we're getting to some critical moments here as we have one player out. Ziggy has been taken out, but we have 4 players, Monty, Kimburo, Flame, and Purzun, who are all very close to each other, who are fighting to stay out of the bottom of this lobby. And the top 3 aren't too far away from that either, and also the top 3 are very close to each other as we're taking a look at Choke God here. And let's see what he can make happen. Going up against Purzun. Purzun, of course, the only Glacial Knight player, and Purzun actually doing a really nice job there. You mentioned how stacked that Hell Knight was. And I do this sometimes. I think I don't know what exactly went into the decision to stack up the Hell Knight. I mean, obviously it's a 3-star, so you're trying to make your strongest unit as strong as you can. But I've seen a Hell Knight in a carry position be pretty ferocious.
Yep.
So it could work out for Purzun. Again, as the only player really going for that Knight play.
For sure. And I think a lot of it came down to he didn't get his Lightblade Knight for a long time. He got his level 3 on the Hell Knight. And so, you know what? The more I'm seeing it, the more I actually really I like this decision. You're 100% correct. Make the strongest unit stronger. That's really what it comes down to. And speaking of strong units, we're seeing Choke God actually able to get a strong level 3 unit up on the front there with that Ripper, getting all of that pure damage out. 250 damage within 2 grids. That adds up over the course of a match, that's for sure. Oh, the call down. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Meanwhile, Kimburo, our hero. Come on, Kimburo, you got this, dude. You got this, man. I know you're potentially listening. Down at 1 HP, trying to make his way back. Let me look at his comp really quick. Kimburo. He's got the Spirits going, Divinity Warlock.
Yep.
God, not really finding any 3-stars. You can tell just by looking at the overall board of everyone's units. There's a lot of 3-stars out there, and Kimburo just for whatever reason not able to snag one for himself. Something you'd really want. Also, his economy not doing so great either. So it's close here between these bottom 3 or 4 players. Very important for Monty as well to hang in there,
Yep.
given how close he is to that top 8 overall. So something to look out for.
Interesting. And I'm
Still anyone's game, dude. I think this is one of the closer lobbies we've seen.
For sure. And I think one of the interesting note here, Deep Blue in the chat, is the reduced cooldown on the cask from the Desperate Doctor. I was looking, I was like, what ult is he trying to buff up here? But that's actually a huge amount to CC. It bounces up to 6 times stuns per second. So that's a 6-second stun functionally across the entire board. If you can stack that up, that CC on top of something like the Spirits with the Petrify, you just basically shut down any of your enemy's abilities to do anything, which is a super cool interaction and something that I didn't really appreciate. But now that I'm looking at it, I really, really like it.
Yeah,
and you can see that cast just bouncing around. It is doing oh my goodness, it makes such a difference. Holy crap, that's actually so good. And with that, Kimburo's actually able to take that no problem up against Monty, who has been looking nigh unstoppable.
And meanwhile, Purzun has that 3-star Desperate Doctor, which is kind of what we were talking about. Remember, he's our Glacial Knight player this game, and he's got his 3-star Desperate Doctor, which is also kind of preventing Kambiro from really stretching his Desperate Doctor to its full capacity. So maybe a little bit unfortunate for Kambiro there. He's not able to maximize that, but man, what a lobby here. I don't even
deal. Well, I was gonna say, I don't think it's a huge deal because it still has that 10-second CD. At that point, the damage is kind of secondary. You're really just using it for the cooldown. So getting to level 3 doesn't matter a whole lot, and especially it matters less if you're dead, which is exactly what happened here instantly. Oh my goodness, Devilish just murdered the man. Goodbye, Kambiro. I think you were doing some great things, but wow.
Yep, which means all those items will be back in the pool for players to accumulate. Flame is the next one on the cutting block. Purza not too far away from him. This is super close at the end. Meanwhile, Monty, remember, he was last for most of this game early on with the open fort, but able to get those 3-star druids out, and the assassins. The abyssal crawler from Monty is super powerful at this point. But we have honestly 5 players could be eliminated in the next round. Choke God, Monty, Bobula, Purza, and Flame, all pretty low in health. It'd obviously have to be drastic losses for Choke God and Monty to get eliminated. It's very likely for Purza or Flame to go out. I'm still holding on to Purza here. I feel like the Glacial Knights have to work for him and get him a little bit higher than he is, because he's the only player going for it, and he's got a lot of 3-stars working.
Sure. And then actually, speaking of Pure Zone and speaking of this Hell Knight, we've talked about how stacked it is. Let's actually let's show how stacked that Hell Knight is. Let's take a look at some of the items on it. I think obviously some of the big. Ooh, hang on.
It should only get better. Yeah, there it is. There you go.
There's the Cuirass. Yeah, there's the Cuirass coming out. That's actually going to be big. So this is pre-nerf Cuirass. So this is actually still going to be pretty darn good. It still has the 40% mana restoration on top of it, so it's not on the PTR.
Oh yeah, and by the way, someone in the chat mentioned it.
Yeah.
Devlis has a 3-star Venomancer.
Oh my goodness. Oh no. Okay, okay. We'll come back to Devils later. He's gonna be here for a while. Pure Zun. I want to see Pure Zun. Back. There we go. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm debating our observer. I'm sorry. Sorry, Alton.
Gotta look at Pure Zun. Going up against Choke God. Choke God the 0 econ, so putting everything to his current composition. Yeah, Pure Zun's gonna be just fine. Should be just fine. Might not be just fine. Okay, he's fine. Flame is out.
Okay.
Pure Zun? Can you hold on? Can you hold on here? Bobula is out.
Oh, the doctor, no!
Pure Zun barely stays alive.
Wow. Boy, was that close.
Pure Zun and Monty, though, Pure Zun and Monty are going to be somewhat happy with all of this, though. I think, top 4 is fine. And considering Monty was, open forwarding, he was near the bottom of the lobby the whole time, he's going to be happy. And Pure Zun, maybe there's a chance he can squeak out of this. You can tell he's looking for a 3-star. He's looking for a 3-star Lightblade. He's got a couple on the bench.
Still hasn't actually allocated any items there. He's focused all of his items on the Hell Knight as well as the Storm Shaman, which I actually like this decision to this point. You kind of either need to commit to her a little bit early if you're going to do it. But man, this Hell Blade Knight, could you imagine? No, this Hell Knight is doing a lot of work over the course of this. The question is, can he deal with the 3-stars coming his way? That Warpwood stage is going to be so hard to take down. And now, that Hell Knight, he's just being pinned into the corner, put up against the boards, as we'd say in Canada. And oh my goodness, that's it.
That was a little poetic too, because Monty and Pure Zun, both the players on the edge, and look at that! Not seconds later, Monty was knocked out. So because Monty was able to do what he did, able to get third, I think Monty's going to be okay with that. He's not going to be thrilled. I think he's going to be, I would say, content. He's going to be content with that. And now we're down to 2, Devils and Choke God, but we all know Devils has that 3-star Venomancer. So I need to give a shout out to that guy in the chat. Who was it? Little Snowman called it out. So this should be a foregone conclusion, more or less. Devilish 6-win streak, 3-star Venomancer, 1 + 2 = 3.
Yes, that is how the math works. As we are seeing the call down. Oh boy, hang on. My goodness.
Choke God is just so strong too, though, dude. the
This is
mechs and
interesting.
also the spirits, the spirit play.
Boy, this level 2 helicopter facing off against a level 2 helicopter. This is...
With the Venomancer.
Oh, man. Goodness.
Yeah, this should be it. Choke gone down to 4 HP. He's got... See if he has one more round in him.
Is going to be the question mark.
It's a pretty exciting fight on the other board between a 3-star Ripper and a 3-star Venomancer. Looks like the Venomancer should prevail. Yep, Venomancer just barely winning for Devless on his board. But here we go. Critical moment.
Boy. Level 2 Dark
For
Spirit.
Choke God.
Oh, I was thinking for Devless, who just got
a
a level 2. Oh.
Yeah, Choke God has his 3-star Ripper. What else has he got? Is that it? Okay.
Boy. Do some slight shifts. He's putting in a Frostblaze Dragon? Yeah. Do it up, buddy. Get that ice wall in there. I believe in you. That could do something. Not a unit we see too often. I think it's so cool conceptually,
Hopefully
but it just doesn't.
it does go out for like a millisecond. Okay, Choke God, can he survive here?
My goodness,
There's
no.
the 3-star Venomancer. Nope.
Oh my goodness, no. That Venomancer. So this is 2 rounds in a row, or 2 games that we're seeing in a row, where players who are going for that traditional Goblin Kira build have found great success. Yeah, we saw it end up choking and losing to the Spirits the last time around. But I didn't say it choked. It just got countered. That's the wrong thing to say. It was countered at the end. But now we're seeing it win another lobby. So a top 2 finish 2 rounds in a row for this build, the build that we saw nonstop last week, that maybe isn't as nerfed as people thought it was. Now that I've been saying this repeatedly on broadcast, I wonder if people will take notes, because I know a lot of our players are watching. Go figure. I don't know.
Venomancer's pretty good.
He's a little good. He's a little good. He's a little good. He's pretty darn good. We're going to be able to check out all of this, I'm sure, in just a moment in our Xperia highlights, because that was a very cool one. I'm not going to lie. Let's take a look at it. Let's jump into those Xperia highlights, because we saw probably the most even lobby we've seen yet, I want to say. There were like 6 players all within about 10 HP of each other over the course of this game, and it was really just a back and forth slugfest. Only one player was able to get any sort of win streak going, and that's not usually what we see. Normally we see a couple loss streaks, normally we see a couple win streaks, but this was just so even, Axel Toss.
Yeah, this Sony Xperia highlight will basically show you a very back and forth story that was told in that game. We see Kimburo near the top in the early game. Choke God ending up losing his winning streak, but making the mech work for him the entire way through. Of course, we're looking at Monty here, who opened up with an open fort, and then going for the feathered assassins and able to get some 3-star druids in the mix. We saw how strong they were there. Monty was number 7 in the lobby, but it was able to turn that around quite nicely. Here's Kimburo. We can see him with 1 health left here, fighting for his life, 0 gold to his name, and somehow, some way, he would prevail from this fight and stay alive a little bit longer. Unfortunately, though, for him, he would be knocked out in the bottom 4 of this lobby eventually. And now we're going to move on to Pure Zun, who is the only player going for the Glacial Knight. Got a 3-star Hell Knight pretty early. We didn't see many Lightblade Knights, weirdly, until like round 10, 15, anywhere at all. And Pure Zun would eventually get knocked out by Monty. So Monty really pulling off the comeback, coming from pretty far down in this lobby and chipping away at the other players to slowly make his way into 3rd place. And then finally down to the final 2 players. And it was all about the 3-star Venomancer. That is very strong. Look at it go. Chop, chop, chop. Thank you very much. Just looks at the next enemy and finding success. So very nicely done by Devless. But I think Monty might have been the player of the game there because of how he open forted in such a critical, pressure-filled moment and got himself top 3. And Monty is still flirting with that top 8 position overall.